There it is.
All right, we are recording this because Facebook Live did not want to work. Of course, technology, it's great when it works. So anyhow, thank you for joining us today, semi-live on the PCS Nation Facebook Live show. We have a fantastic guest, my friend CC Gallagher, with us today. But first, before we get started, I wanted to kind of tell everybody what PCS Nation is all about. So we want to make sure that all of our military members have all of the resources that they need to make their PCS moves a little less stressless. We all know that it is, being the business and the mortgage industry that I'm in, obviously CC being a military spouse who has PCS'd quite a few times over the last 10 years. We all know that this can be stressful. And we want to try to take the part of the transaction, if they're buying a home, off of them, and anything that we can provide them on a local level at the bases they are going to. So our goal is to provide local boots on the ground resources to them and also make their moves easier. And that's where CC comes into play, her product, the Stressless PCS Kit, which we will get into here shortly.
Yeah, that's okay.
So what I want our listeners and our watchers, when they see this played back on social media, to see and hear is, I want you to kind of talk about your journey, obviously with you and Cameron and his service, and kind of your educational background and that as a military spouse first, and then kind of what led that into, the Stressless PCS Kit and making that product.
Yeah, I'm happy to share that. And first, thanks for having me on.
No,
I really
absolutely.
appreciate your time and,
always.
and for letting me hang out with you for a little bit. And I want to say before we get started, because today is such a special day, right? It's military.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Today. So we'll celebrate those spouses in our community, and especially those in PCS Nation who are just doing great work and everything that they're doing with their selfless service too. So happy Spouse Appreciation Day to those.
Yes.
So my name's Christine Gallagher, but I go by CC. My friends call me CC. I'm the president of Military Quality of Life Consulting, and a newly launched product, as Jason said, the Stressless PCS Kit, an entrepreneur, Army spouse, and the mother of 2 highly mobile military kids. My background, I have an undergraduate master's degree in advertising and communications, and married my husband right out of graduate school. And so for us, we've conducted 6 moves in the last 10 years of marriage. And professionally, I've had the opportunity to work across multiple industries. So teaching in higher education at 2 separate universities, leading efforts in government relations and program management for 2 of the nation's leading military service organizations, the nonprofit side. I've served as an IT project manager for a defense contractor, leading spouse employment and transition efforts for several portfolios there. And for me, because it has been so difficult to maintain employment through our PCS moves, I've added that entrepreneurship to my resume. And the concept of military quality of life consulting, where my business started, came out of a really challenging PCS move and a resignation letter to an organization I really wasn't ready to leave. And when I handed that in, because they couldn't support a remote staff, it really convinced me to create something to help the countless spouses in the same situation that I was in and that I was facing. It was really difficult. So since launching Military Quality of Life Consulting in 2015, I've worked with about 12 or 13 different clients that include federal government entities, national nonprofits, foundations, and national brands. And what I do is I equip them to greater fulfill their mission of serving our military communities. So it could be anywhere from social impact, strategic communication or cause marketing, or operations, whatever they want to do to enhance their outreach to our community. And this last year in 2020, about 6 months ago, a little over 6 months ago, I expanded the mission of Military Quality of Life Consulting to directly serve our military families by developing this product called the Stressless PCS Kit. And what it is, it's an all-in-one labeling system to organize your military move. And what it does is it helps remove the stress because it's an easy to follow system that allows military families to organize the hundreds of household good boxes that move from one home to the next.
Right. So how many times have you PCS since Cameron's been in the military?
with 6 times in 10 years. So we've moved coast to coast. We've never lived overseas, but we have definitely spanned East Coast to West Coast. Some places more desirable than others. So, and currently we are in El Paso, Texas at Fort Bliss.
Yep.
So that's where we are.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
and so, you know, as dealing with as many PCS and military as I deal with in my business, and we do with Mark, you know, we've kind of taken on this mission to provide, in what my opinion is, better coverage, so to speak. I know there's a lot of obviously military friendly organizations with the Military Family Advisory Network and some places like that are this, but in the lending world, in our research and what we're doing with is the lack of communication with lenders, letting the PCSing military know that they truly understand what a PCS move entails. So not just being able to help them on the lending side, but providing resources.
Right.
And your product for us is a resource, number one. And so that's kind of what led us to kind of you and I to start our conversations and look and link up that way. So, you know, tell them a little bit about, you know, your experiences in PCS and kind of how that product was born.
Oh, sure. I sure will. But I just want to thank you, because what you and your team at Benchmark are doing is you're really wrapping your arms around our community. And especially when you look at what's happening now with the stop movement or families who are getting those exceptions to policies, like you're really giving them that warm hand to lean onto as they're going through this maybe uncomfortable or overwhelming process as they make their way to the next organization.
Yeah.
So
we appreciate that for sure.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, so this product, and I can show you what it looks like. Okay.
For sure.
Let me tell you a little bit about the physical product, and then I can kind of go into the story of how the thought process came to be. So in every Stressless PCS kit, it comes packaged together. And so you're going to get an instruction sheet, really like your template to work through what this looks like. So prep, pack, place, receive, and relax. And on the back of it, there's going to be a room chart that identifies 8 separate room types, but the kit allows you to identify 12 different rooms and spaces. So in the kit, you'll also receive 12 different door hangers where you're going to place the labels here. And I'll show you some of the labels because they're large enough to fit on the outside of the box to be able to clearly identify what they are. So this is our storage. And we know as military families, sometimes we have a variety of different storage needs. So those who are moving OCONUS or overseas, you may be putting items in long-term storage.
Yep.
So there's an option to do that: basement, attic, garage, hall closet. There's the bathroom label. The other thing I want to point out is that on every single one of these, there's a box to check off if it's critical or not critical to open. So we know, this is a dining room, but we know that like once the moving crew, or even if you're doing a do-it-yourself move, it's so overwhelming to get those boxes in your home. So this system will set that process in place to help you organize and identify where all these are going. So as I go through these, Pro Gear, we know that mil spouses also have Pro Gear, so we have an option to check service member or mil spouse. Anyways, you can check out our website at stresslesspcskit.com. To look at it. And if you do order it, it will come pre-packaged like this. So that way it keeps the structure of all of the labels in here. So this kit, as I showed you the product, the kit came for me out of many, many frustrating moves, military moves. And there was one in particular that started to get me thinking about this. And we PCS from Fort Carson, Colorado, out to the Mojave Desert of California to Fort Irwin.
Oh, wow.
And we had to downsize drastically. The house we were moving to in the desert was the only house available on the installation. And so I think we downsized by like 2/3. Like we went from a 3-story house, because homes in Colorado have basements,
right,
and went to like a 1-story small home there. And so I was very strategic on purging our items, selling them, getting rid of everything. And I knew that every box leaving Colorado had to make a strategic home into the California house. And so in every move, I have purchased countless amounts of duct tape, Sharpie markers, labels, Avery labels to print our name and information on it. And none of those like really made the cut for helping us organize these boxes that went. So we PCS to California, and then about a year and a half later, we got orders to come here to Fort Bliss. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm so sick and tired of prepping and spending all this money on this equipment that's just not working. So that's when I invested time and money in hiring a designer who's a veteran-owned company, and helping me put together this first mock set of the Stressless PCS Kit. And I said, okay, we know we're moving in the fall to Fort Bliss. We're going to leverage this, and we're going to use this system. And as I started to develop and use it, I had other military families reaching out saying, hey, can you help us? Like, how do we get the kit? Because we want to do the same thing. Right. So that's how it came to be. I executed a test set here. I sent a friend to South Korea with a test set because her move was all over the place. And then when we got here to El Paso, I found a local printing vendor who helps me print and curate and shrink wrap the kit so that way I can send it and drop ship it to military families wherever they're located. Man. So, yeah.
Well, it's, I know that we as Benchmark have bought them, and some of our branches have. I know Rick Ward, who's at Fort Carson.
Yes.
He's an Army vet himself, has bought some for his clients. And
amazing.
For us, we want to make sure that all of our clients, or whether they're our clients or not, frankly, have all of those resources. So, with your kit, what are some of the other things that military members can do when they're about their move along with your kit? I mean, obviously you moved 6 times in 10 years. Are there anything else, as far as moving goes? Because there's about to be a lot of that. This top movement's not going to last forever.
Yes.
In your experiences, what are some of the other things that they can do?
I think now as people are at home or they're waiting for that move date, they can start preparing their items. So that means going through, and how I would do it, because I'm the type A meticulous planner, I would create an inventory list of our items in each of the rooms. And while I'm doing that, I would go through to purge or make a pile to donate. I know a lot of the donation centers right now are closed due to COVID-19 and what's happening. So my recommendation is to create a pile or a separate space in a room to put items. So when they do open up, you could then donate. But yeah, I would start to go through, create inventory list of your items, look through what you don't need anymore. Maybe there's toys that your kids don't use anymore that maybe another family could use. And just start preparing that way, getting your documents in order for kids' schools on the other side, or anything that you can control, I would say, is really the best way.
That's one of the biggest struggles for people, is they try to tackle things that they can't control.
Always. Isn't that what creates such anxiety? Is that when I realize there's things that I can't control, that's where I get overly anxious. So I think about, okay, what can I do now to help empower us and prepare us to get to the other side?
Right.
And that's what I would ask myself. What can I do now? You can go through your house. You can get your paperwork together. You can set up the movers if you have that exception of policy based on what the service is telling you and what your chain of command is telling you.
So for our service members that may have children, you have 2 little boys.
Yes.
Right.
They may pop in here at some point. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll put them on camera.
Okay.
So what's the best piece of advice for military members that have children? Give somebody, what was that one piece of advice that you would give them?
Now is such a difficult time, right? Because our kids have been home for so many weeks due to this pandemic. And so, yes. And I know I have many friends who are moving, who have an exception, and they're going coast to coast, or they're flying, they're preparing their families to make that big move overseas in the coming months. And so I think the biggest thing is to talk to your kids if they're old enough to start to understand. Every time we move, we make it an adventure, or we try to. We make it a happy experience. We try to make it an adventure because we get to explore new parts of this world that other people may not have the opportunity to do. So so we work with our kids in that way. I always pack, like, if we're in the car, we have like the DVDs or the iPads. Our kids they're into that these days, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But like, get those coloring books, sticker books, and it depends on what the ages are of your kids. I'm very much in the like 6 and under phase with our kids. So like, it's what's going to keep them happy and occupied while you make that transition.
For sure. Well, we know it's hard on military kids.
Oh, yeah.
My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law is stationed at Fort Bragg.
Yes.
3 little girls. And I say little, Heidi's the oldest. She's 12 now, 11 now, I think.
Yeah, they're so.
And it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen, what Josh has gone on his deployments or this or and so you got the deployment side, you've got the moving side, they're getting torn away from their friends and all these different things.
Yes.
And so providing them with those local resources to get them plugged in,
yes,
to me would be an extremely important thing for them to do.
Yes.
Keep them busy, get them around kids like them.
Yes. And many, to add on to that, I don't know if I answered your question, but I would say resources, military families should definitely call Military One Source. That is the Department of Defense's, big initiative to help families in every aspect of life. And so they have PCS consultants, they have mental health care providers right now, and they have health and wellness coaches that can help you work through building healthy habits into your life, even as that PCS comes to be. But they are a key resource. And in addition to that, based on where you're going, start to get in communication with the family readiness centers where you're headed to. And again, I know we're going through this transition period, but it always helps to be more prepared with information prior to making that movement and what you need to be prepared for. But I would say the local installation family readiness centers, that command that you're going to, and then also Military One Source, that's where I would always start.
Yeah, and I know there's some people out there that will listen to this because I have some friends of mine that are military spouses that used to work in FREs, and so they have a lot of resources to that. And so I would ask them to, if they see this, share this when we post this on social media.
Sure.
Because I think people need to have those. I'll post a link to Military One Source because I've gotten resources myself for clients and family and all that off of that. So I think it's a great website. They do a lot of good. So I think, we'll keep it short and sweet because I know you've got little boys to go tend to.
Yes.
But I want to thank you personally, on behalf of myself and our team and all of our people here at Benchmark for helping us.
Yeah.
Because you're helping me understand how I can help more. And because I've never been what you've been through. And so I want to understand it so we can provide the right kind of resources. Yeah. So thank you for helping us. I appreciate it. My Benchmark family does. I know all the people who will watch this will appreciate it. But thank you. It's obviously as a military spouse, I appreciate that. I know that's tough. Thank your little boys for us. Give them a hug for us and tell Cameron thank him for his service.
We will. Thanks for having us, different folks on here to talk about this experience and what has helped us.
I think at some point we may have everybody on here at one time and have a military spouse happy hour.
I would love it. Let's do that, please.
That way we can stay connected. And, I know we're all, disconnected via distance.
Yeah.
We can still stay connected via virtual and do these things and have some good conversations and constructive things because people out there need it. They need a break from homeschool.
Yes.
You do. Okay. We all do. But before we get off here, tell the fine folks who are watching this, before we get off here, where they can find you on social media and how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so the Stressless PCS Kit.com, or we're on Facebook and Instagram for the product. And then Military Quality of Life Consulting is MQOLC.com, and we're on Facebook and LinkedIn there. But certainly check out our websites. And my email is ccgallagher@mqolc.com. Reach out if I can do anything or help you or support your work in any way to help strengthen our military families.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you have boys to tend to.
Thanks, Jason.
We will talk to you soon, and you have a fantastic day.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks.
All right.